Okay, this June 11th regular meeting of the Morgantown Utility Board will come to order. Minutes. Okay, did everyone have a chance to read the copies of minutes that we got? Anybody notice anything? Any corrections, objections? If not, do I have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of April 9, 2024, and the special meeting on April 17, 2024 is submitted.
Okay, is there a second?
I wasn't at the special meeting, so I'm not going to
Oh, you can't second that one.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Minutes are approved. Okay, public portion. What do we have tonight? Anybody to speak from the public? Do we have any letters, calls? Nothing? Okay, all right. New business, Deckers Creek Water Feasibility Study, and we have a presentation by Mark Downs and LJ Julian.
Thank you.
You can stand behind it. So we've got a microphone there.
Okay, cool. Here, I'll come around here. So, here, I'll share this. Hi, I'm Mark Downs. I'm the president of Main Street Morgantown, and Main Street Morgantown is sponsoring the Whitewater Park feasibility study that we're going to talk to you about this evening. You all are participating on the steering committee. Mike and Rich, thanks for coming out and meeting with our vendor, and we look forward to your partnership through this process. The project that we've initiated as the facilitator, and really the project kind of facilitation organization on behalf of our sponsor, Friends of Deckers Creek, is really to imagine what's in the realm of the possible. Growing up in Morgantown, Deckers Creek was always kind of like, just kind of a liability, and for a lot of reasons, and the watershed was just the place that you didn't want to get in, and I think we're starting to turn the corner now with the acid mine drainage site that's online in Richard, and the near immediate results that we've seen in terms of the benefit of that. We're very fortunate in Morgantown to have an asset like Deckers Creek, tributary running adjacent to our downtown, through so many of our neighborhoods, and available to us as kind of a recreational asset, a natural asset. I tell people, I go into Lower Greenmont, and it feels like you're in a botanical garden, that you're out in the woods and apart with nature. So this feasibility study is really looking at what's in the realm of the possible. I mean, what can we do on the creek in terms of considering the flows, and I know you guys can't see this, but it'll be provided to you. The flows, the slope, the ecological considerations, all of those kinds of the cleanliness of the water, and what's in the realm of the possible is some kind of water feature, and after our initial meeting, a white water. When people think about white water, we all think about rafting down the New River or the Gully, and that's not what we're talking about here, right? That's not going to be Deckers Creek. But could it be like a lazy river? Absolutely. Could it have when flows reach 1,000 CFS on occasion? Could there be some class 3 rapids? Absolutely. So there is potential for those kinds of recreational assets. These are just pictures of some of the work that our contractors done around the country. They're from Colorado, highly qualified. They built the Whitewater Park in Alabama that is currently being used for Olympic trials, and as well as just a number of places around the country. Scott Shipley is the principal. He was #1 kayaker in the world for about 10 years. In terms of the project, it's about a 6-month process. So they did their initial site survey, and they've gone away with a lot of data, LiDAR and flow data that we've pulled together for them, and they're going to analyze that and look at the stretch of creek from the climbing gym in Saberton to the mouth of the Mon. So that's kind of the study area. Now, just based on their visit, they really think that it becomes most practical to look at look at Morella Park as the place for something like this, an asset like this, an amenity like this to start. Because of the flows, you get the additional tributary from Hartman and Aaron's Creek coming in, and there's also a little more slope. So about a 6-month process. The steering committee is going to be involved along the way. Thank you all for agreeing to participate in it, and LJ, I'll let you take it from here.
Just a little backstory on how we got here. We looked, Mark and I, involved with others through Main Street and just being invested in downtown. Mark currently is working on working on a game plan of rehabbing the Warner Theater. Well, this conversation leans into the whole vitality of our downtown and how we identify ourselves. For a long time, we've identified ourselves as this college town. Well, we started looking at other ways that we could complement that storyline with other assets that we have already within our community if we just untap them. So that led to the conversation to our rail trail. And then soon it took us to Decker's Creek. And when Mark and I started talking about Decker's Creek, you start doing email searches and you discover, well, wait a minute, there might be some opportunity on Decker's Creek. Granted, there's a lot of work there, but lucky us that we are overlapping wants and needs. We want to have a more vibrant downtown. We want to have a more vibrant community that is an asset to our neighborhoods like Greenmont and Woodburn and South Park. So we looked at Decker's Creek as an opportunity to, again, like Mark referenced, it is when you go down there, it is kind of like a botanic garden, and it's filled with a lot of potential. And recognizing that, Morgantown Utility Board is obviously, there comes a time where we have 70-plus year infrastructure that at some point in time we've got to figure out how do we address. Before we can do that, we actually have to create a vision and an idea and a plan. And I think that's where we're all sort of holding hands together. And again, as Mark mentioned, it's great that obviously the MUB thought enough of this steering committee and this feasibility study to participate, because we really think we're onto something here. Our downtown has seen some struggles in recent years, and a lot of that is because of development that's sort of taken the synergy away from our heart core, our county seat, our town center. And so we started looking at ways, how do we redirect the focus back to downtown Morgantown in a way where it's an asset for our neighborhoods and go beyond that. We're a destination, you come to Morgantown, and last Friday is a perfect example. there's a free concert at the amphitheater, and the amphitheater is a wonderful example of what you can do. It was envisioned 30 years ago to have an amphitheater. Well, it got a little distressed. We had to put love back into it, and now look what we have there. Last Friday, downtown was hopping. You had people going through First Fridays, going to see art, and then making their way downtown. Well, Deckers Creek can be a conduit for our neighborhoods as a connection to our downtown, and also to the Wharf District and also the amphitheater. So we look at any improvement that we can put and apply to Deckers Creek, that's going to become an asset not just for our downtown, but just for us in general. And you know more than anyone. You just finished a wonderful project with the reservoir, and that was looked at as a need. Well, now we can pivot to something else that could contribute to economic vitality for our community, and make Morgantown more of a destination in and beyond just being a college town, but something like during the summer times and the spring months, a place of a destination where somebody can come to Morgantown, they can stay at a hotel, go see a show. Next day they're on the rail trail riding their bike. The next day they might get in an inner tube and be on Deckers Creek. Those are the things, amenities I think we need to create to sort of start identifying ourselves as something more and beyond just a college town.
So I think in terms of, I'm sorry, I should have acknowledged. So the feasibility study is sponsored by the City of Morgantown County Commission, and Delegate Hanson provided the first amount of money, the first money to make this happen. So thank you, Delegate Hanson. Thank you, City of Morgantown. Thank you, County Commission. But we obviously need some data, and the elephant in the room is the combined sewage overflow system, right? And what do we do with that? And that's really where we'd like to work with you guys a little more closely, understand what the long-term control plan looks like. The last one I found on the CSO site is it's a little dated, so I don't know what the schedule is to work through an update on that, or what kind of data you guys have on the CSO, and see where we go, because that's going to be a big factor in hey, is this feasible or not?
Well, I have to say I'm excited to hear that there is a plan coming together, and a lot of that plan is focused on the downtown area. I think you're right. Everything overlaps and everything supports the other parts, and I haven't been aware of a complete effort at this point, but having lived here for 55 years, I welcome this opportunity, and I live in South Park, and I really welcome the opportunity because I can walk just about anywhere you're talking about. And I was down there Friday night for the concert, and I find that so exciting and energetic, full of energy and enthusiasm, and a lot of those people were not students. I mean, that's even nicer. So
no, it's true. It's like again. I think this is a way that I feel like the beauty of a project like this, assuming that we say, hey, this is something we want to lean into. You're not just talking about downtown. You're talking about the neighborhoods. Like you know very well about the neighborhoods and the efforts that our neighborhood associations put in to make their communities better. This is not just about downtown. It's not just about the neighborhoods. It's you have organizations like Friends of Deckers Creek. You have Mon River Trails. You have the Board of Education. It actually it can be another piece to this equation, considering the MHS's connection to Deckers Creek. This is a great way for everybody to be sort of sticking their flag into this initiative. And at the end of the day, I think it'd be wonderful if 5 years from now we have little pieces that we've already put together and we start establishing. You could do this incrementally. That's the other beauty about this feasibility study, is Scott was looking at how you could phase this initiative in a way where, okay, we've identified Marilla Park as being a natural spot. there's already a campus there. There's also, Boat Park already has a recreational campus already there. They're getting ready to do a redo, so you already have bathrooms in place. You already have all those things in place. And so as you do that, now you can look at the other areas that might be a little more, maybe not quite as cost effective on the initial, but they might be a grander project. But I really feel like the way this has sort of transpired in the last year and a half, from Mark and I talking about it to connecting with Evan, and and Sam has been sort of walking us through this whole step too in respect to economic vitality for our downtown. So we really feel like we're onto something here, and it's great to be able to partner up with others.
I know I've been obviously privy to a lot of these conversations, but just with what you guys are doing, what you're focusing on, I saw last week in a community that I used to live in that someone well, Craig Gossman did a lot for back leading up to 2010 with the plan for streetscapes there in a new pavilion. They have been pushing for 17 years to bring back what was called Town Branch, which was a creek that ran through downtown Lexington and was covered up because it was the sewer. And they've been working for years and years and years. And just last week got a $16 million donation from a benefactor to finish off what's going to be a wonderful linear park through the downtown of Lexington. And we don't have to uncover anything. We have it.
I saw that, by the way. I was down there about a month ago, and I was like, wow, this is like the type of opportunity that we could have.
Yeah, well, and that one is, it's a whole lot closer to the Riverwalk in San Antonio, which is to say Disney World, than it is what we have here with the Adventure.
Sure.
And so to capitalize on it, and I brought up this week, as part of that, the push for it back in 2017, Commerce Lexington, which is the equivalent of the partnership, did a visit to Boulder to look at what they have through their community. And, we're a whole lot more like Boulder than Lexington is. And they're getting it done, but we can too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I mean, that's kind of one of the things that we're hoping to realize is that the CSO is something that I know that MUB's been involved in for a long time and continues to monitor and look at when we first kind of thought about this is well, wow, isn't the literal economies of scale here to be able to potentially solve a problem. So
I would also offer that, so in our reporting on sort of the market for a lot of this stuff, outdoor recreation opportunities was a key piece of that in there in terms of comparisons to other towns. And when you think about our downtown, you have the Mon there, but we could double down on the amphitheater by the Mon on Deckers Creek and really bring some of the really sort of great vibrancy in the neighborhood parks right to the downtown in this way. So
And this is close to the work that Dave's done as far as quality of life ways of how that improves the health of your citizens. And so this leans right into that dynamic as well. So it's been like we said again, we feel fortunate to this point. Everyone we've brought these ideas to, it seems like the whole initiative continues to get better and more attractive for everyone. So we hope to continue that.
So, go ahead.
No, I agree. I've been aware of bits and pieces as we've gone along, and we deal with different issues related to those bits and pieces. But this is really the first time I've heard anyone pull it together as more of a vision that's much broader and much more inclusive of the kinds of things that we can do to really turn this area into an attractive area for people to come. So I'd say continue with your vision and promote it. Most people would rather have fun than have to work hard to make it happen, but fun is attractive, and I encourage you to do that. It does sound exciting. I think you can create a lot of excitement to support this.
I have a question.
Thank you. Yeah, Tom.
Do you perceive that the issue of CSOs is one of the major issues that needs to be addressed to make this feasible?
Well, obviously, flow is an issue, and the better the flow, the better the amenity, the better the asset. So, when flows are highest is when, the water is most dangerous. So I think probably so. There's potential that, these things are still done with CSOs in the mix.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just, they just shut them down when, it rains a lot. So, we'll look at it both ways.
So when the flow is the best,
Yeah.
don't get on the water
Yeah,
because.
right,
Yes.
right, exactly.
And in the type of whitewater dynamics that somebody that's looking for 2 and 3 class rapids, they're going to find themselves a little farther up on Deckers Creek anyways. Again, what we're speaking about is going to be more of like a connection with our general populace. And Scott made a good point. He's the gentleman that put the feasibility study together. He said of the people that come to see these water dynamics, whatever they may be, 1 in 10 people is going to actually touch the water. They just want to sort of see like what's going on here. Is it, oh, look at these kids in their inner tubes flowing here. Oh, look at that kayaker going through this wave right here. It's more becomes an attraction in that way. It could be somebody might come to this just to hear the running of the water over the rocks. But it has the potential truly of creating additional gathering spots within our town center.
LJ, Mark, you mentioned a 6-month window is that for the feasibility study to be shared out? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, for them to complete the feasibility study. Their timelines generally run about 6 months.
Okay. And from a MUB standpoint, what would be helpful to provide back to you all within that 6-month window or sooner that would help supplement that?
Yeah, I think the long-term control plan, discussion about the long-term control plan, and then some data on, how often are we overflowing, and what's the science on it.
Okay. Actually, we have an update on the agenda tonight, so.
Oh, cool.
Where we are.
Fantastic.
All right, are there any questions? Any further
Thank you all for
discussion?
coming and sharing.
Appreciate
That
it.
was
Thanks for the opportunity.
great to give it to this board.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, again, thank you, and very interesting, kind of exciting here. Look forward to working with you on that. Now we have dump truck bid approval.
Yes, we opened bids on April 18th for the purchase of a new 2025 Ford F-750 dump truck. We had one bidder, Thornhill Ford, located down in Chapmanville, West Virginia. It's Logan County, it's my hometown. Lived in the suburbs, so they were the only bidder. So this is what we got there.
Okay. All right.
So the amount of the truck is $149,977.
Wow, that's a nice sized toy.
Nothing's cheap.
Oh, boy.
What's the expected delivery date on it?
1 year, maybe.
No rush on our big toys, that's for sure.
And are we exclusively Ford for those type of vehicles?
Or equivalent, but we
Okay, so
just
the
had
bid
the
was
one.
for Ford or equivalent?
Yeah, we
Okay.
just had the one bid.
Okay.
so.
Okay.
How many tons does this carry?
Tom, I don't know exactly,
No
but I
problem.
can find
No,
out.
I'm just curious.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the bid submitted by Thornhill Ford for new 2025 Ford F-750 dump truck in the amount of $149,977,000.
Okay. Any further questions or discussion?
I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Motion carries. All right, now we come to the approval of the fiscal year ending June 30th annual budgets.
Yes, so Each year, we go through this exercise of putting together the budgets for the next fiscal year. The budgets were submitted to the Board of Directors prior to the board packets actually going out to give everyone ample time to review the budgets. In the summary, we're looking at some increases this year. One we've already dealt with, the medical insurance increasing 15%. We've included pay raises, cost of living adjustments 3% across the board. Purchase power, we're seeing a 19% increase. That's an approximate. You never know who's going to file for what with the Public Service Commission throughout the year. Our liability insurance went up 15.7% this year. We've added a line item of $27,000 to install cameras for MUB vehicles. That's for the safety of our employees. It is kind of amazing to me at times that we'll get a phone call about a particular truck and a number, and we can certainly look at how that truck is performing today through GPS, but we can't see the driver or what's in front of the driver. So the way people like to talk on their cell phones and drive at the same time, even though it's against the law, it would help protect our driver and MUB and the ratepayers in case there's an accident.
Is this a system or just individual cameras?
It's a system
Okay.
that we purchased.
So it'll be an ongoing.
Yes, it's an add-on to the current GPS system that we're subscribed to today.
Yeah, they work very nice because the cameras, if there is a quick stop or an accident, it records right away 5 seconds before and after and during. It gets the driver and it gets what's out there also.
Great.
It gets everything.
That's for the number of vehicles we have in our fleet, that's a very reasonable price.
Particularly on our roads.
We've added some additional funding this year in our MUB program, as well as random drug testing and chemical increases, of course. They continue to rise, especially in water treatment. So those are all expenses that we've included. Capital improvement items, these are just some of the sampling, a new air compressor, pipe grade laser, some new attachments for the Ventrac we bought last year, and a new crew truck. Our fleet is getting older, so we need to start making those replacements. For the plants, we've got pump replacements, some big repairs overhaul this year, electrical system repairs, spare pumps for some of the stations, Saberton and Scotts Run booster stations for new roof replacements, as well as a electrical service for the South Park High water booster. Each of the budgets are laid out throughout the document, so you can see for the water budget, we included a cash flow for each of the utilities. We're looking at revenues this year for around $17 million for the water utility. Just a reminder, there will be a 3% inflationary adjustment in rates this year. It's 24 and in 25. And so those have been a big help in dealing with these increases we're seeing with the power and chemicals, because they don't go by just inflationary numbers. I mean, where some of these are double digits we're seeing. So each of the utilities are laid out again. Please feel free to interrupt if you have a specific question. We're looking at sewer revenues this year around $18 million. The stormwater, or the cheat sewer, we did not raise rates on cheat sewer when we did the last rate increase. We're in the middle of the design work right now for the Cheat Lake Sewer Treatment Plant upgrade and a couple of the lift stations. And so once we complete that design and we have our financing package ready to go, there will have to be a rate increase, so we'll have to go to city council. We've discussed that as well in previous meetings. So those revenues are about 1.8 million. And then for the stormwater system, we'll see revenues around 2.3 million. I want to take a moment and recognize Chip and Pam for their good work. It's some heavy lifting getting everything ready, getting all the information together and looking at what we did last year, what we're doing this year, where we project ourselves to be at the end of the fiscal year. And so they do a great job. All the departments contribute to this effort. It's not just one group. Engineering provides their capital need. We have a capital improvement plan, but that changes. That's very fluid because things happen throughout the year. We have to address. Certain things will go on the back burner, certain things come on the front burner. The plants contribute. Joey over at the shop for construction and maintenance. So everybody's has their input into the budget. One of the things we did over this fiscal year, we hired a consultant to come in. And I want to thank Barbara. She recommended Meredith Snyder to us. We were able to sit down with her. She is the president of compensation. She's, I guess, a compensation analyst, but she's president of Compensation 101 Plus. And she came in this year and did a whole study for our employees. She looked at it across the board, not just local, but this is on the big scale with American Water Works. We provided her that data from their compensation studies that they've done across the country. We had a very small number of employees that were being paid below the market. And so we looked at what we call the lift for those employees. Those are right around $50,000 this year. We've included that in the budget as well.
And that's a total number, that's not per employee.
No, that's not. No, boss, it's not per employee. I'm sure some of them would like that, but so that was the total. I mean, it was an excellent process. We learned a lot. She helped us develop better job descriptions and looking at the different classifications for employees, and so we really enjoyed that process. It was a real eye-opener.
Well, it's something, our whole business occurs because of people. And we have to be competitive, and we have to get qualified people, and we have to keep them. And a business can't do that unless you know who you're competing with and what it takes to hire the people that you need and keep them. And so we've been able to do a really good job of that. Once in a while we have a job that is more difficult than others, more challenging. And the question was, are we competitive across the board? Are all of our jobs competitive, or are we only competitive in certain areas? And so it was a wise thing, I think, to make sure we knew where we were and to correct any areas that needed correcting and remain as competitive and with a quality product as we have. So I'm glad we did that.
I think one thing that's kind of notable that most people probably are not aware of, if you add up the total operations of our three divisions, it comes in at over $37 million a year. When I added those numbers up in my head. Now I can't. Let's not go there. But I don't think people understand how big an operation MUB is. I mean, we have a number of customers, our sales on the commercial side, the economic development activity, but we're running over $37 million a year of business, which is a significant business with how many employees total?
We're at 140.
Yeah, about 142 is what we have.
Just under 37.
Just doesn't know if he.
His
Is that
he adds
cheap?
that. Yeah, yes.
That includes cheap.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a sizable operation, and I think, you know, a lot of people don't fully understand that.
And we do run, you know, the water utility is a separate entity from the sewer utility. And we provide the PSC with annual reports and annual audits.
And there are 4 budgets, right? in
Yes.
there,
Yes.
So
Correct.
it's not just one, we're the water company.
Right.
Right.
Okay,
We're the water company, but we do more than just water.
we do.
So, again, Chip can answer some of the questions on the nuts and the bolts. If not,
Is there a motion? Or
I
are there
move-
questions? Any questions at this point? Anybody?
I'd just like to thank Chip for clarifying some questions I had regarding the debt service coverage and the percentage and how that's derived and what it needs to be, so appreciate that.
And we're well within the
Yeah.
requirements.
I have one question. To what degree did the stuff going on in Charleston delay the, uncertainty about, PEIA stuff and like what the state's budget's going to be and all this, delay the prep of this at all? Or is it, is this the normal? Because I know our budgets were severely delayed given state allocations for various things.
so we are the non-state group.
Right.
And they put out, I think, the increases rather quickly.
They did this year.
And so we knew where we would be. And our biggest challenge is our liability in workers' comp, getting that information back for the budget.
And that is a state function.
With, you've got everything categorized. From my time doing public budgeting, we had major categories and subcategories. We could move freely about in the subcategories, but if we needed to transfer funds back and forth, that was something we had to go to city council on. Is that something that's, do we have those type of categories within this
To
setup?
transfer funds?
Yeah, or just when these things are broken down, how does that work? Is this something that, is this something under the purview of the state auditor? Like,
No, it is not. MUB's budget, when the board approves this budget, and we do not commingle water fund, water revenues, water expenses, we don't pay
Very
for
wise.
sewer.
It's not permitted.
Right.
But I can tell you this, I do understand that the PSC has now revised its policy on using sewer revenue to help with the purchase of water meters. If you have
I can see
both
the
water.
reasoning why.
Yes, I have asked for that for a number of years and was told no. And now I understand they are starting to allow that because they see the cost of meters, especially when you're looking at AMI, AMR type, radio read, a drive-by and so forth. They see that expense and they're saying, well, yes, the sewer utility can help pay for that type of system.
Figured it out.
I'd like to see at some point, even if it's a separate workshop, something that kind of really dives into the budget. I know we talked in previous years about getting this a month in advance, and I know we didn't meet last month.
Right.
So we didn't have that opportunity. But really like to have more of an opportunity to kind of do a deep dive. As Tom pointed out, we're at about $37 million. Want to make sure that the 5 of us have our heads wrapped around it as much as possible.
Sure.
Good suggestion. All right, do I have a motion to approve this budget?
I move to approve the water, sewer, G Lake sewer, and stormwater budgets for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025.
Okay, all in favor? Say
We
aye.
need a second.
Second.
Oh, I'm
I'll
sorry.
second.
Yes, the fun.
Jumping the gun a lot.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm so excited to get this done. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, the next subject is the long-term control plan update.
Yes, so Strand Associates, they've just completed the first phase of updating our long-term control plan, which included the development of a hydraulic model for calculating wastewater flows and activity at our CSO. The next phase that we're looking at approving this evening will consist of the review and use of the collection system characterization with hydraulic modeling, so you can play the what-if game, and as well as the development of project alternatives and the update of the existing long-term control plan. The fee for the long-term control plan is $424,500. And so this is the next part that is, that needs to be done. So we would have the long-term control plan update, which is roughly a 1,000-page document, Rich, with including exhibits, and that would be prepared and sent to the West Virginia DEP for their approval.
So how long would that take, the second phase?
By the time they do their alternatives and determine what projects we're going to do, probably about 6 months.
I have a question. I know the result of this will go to the DEP, but will it, the alternatives indicate what the cost estimates would be and possible engineering associated with those cost estimates?
Yes,
Okay.
the development of alternatives will include costs.
So after that, then we can actually put out the bid, whatever we decide to do.
Well, we would, whatever we decided to do, we could contract for that design. We could advertise for the engineering services for those
We won't have
projects.
to design.
No, this would not include the
Okay.
design. This would
Okay.
just include the projects
Okay.
and the alternatives and the probable costs.
So, for example, we're going to replace a piece of line. Well, they put that in the model, changing it from a 70-year-old pipeline to a new one, whether they upgrade it, and then let's see what that does to our percent capture.
Okay.
And then you compare that to other projects, and you're trying to have a list of projects that makes the most difference when it comes to reducing your amount of overflows in your CSO.
Okay, it's a lot of work.
Yes.
All right, any further discussion, questions?
I move to approve task order number 24-03 with Strand Associates for the long-term control plan update in the amount of $424,500.
Second.
Okay, and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the task order, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, up to old business, we get to hear it again.
Okay, the EPA Brownfields grant, we did rebid. We opened bids on May the 23rd. Again, this is for the pre-demolition, environmental clearance, and site demolition of the former Dinsmore Tire Shop and Bicycle Shop. Reclaim Company LLC was the lowest qualified bidder in the amount of $179,680.06. We recommend the board accept that bid, and we are very confident that there are no issues.
Okay. Is there, do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the bid submitted by Reclaim Company LLC in the amount of $179,680 contingent upon approval by the U.S. EPA.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Any questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries. Okay. Chief View.
Okay, on May the 2nd, the Public Service Commission of West Virginia issued a commission order approving the consolidation of MUB and Chiefview PSD. Jeff is preparing all the closing documents to be effective as of June 30th, 2024. That's so we just close out the end of the fiscal year as Chiefview, and then July 1, it's all MUB. We have submitted the proposed rate ordinance adopting the Chiefview PSD rates to the Morgantown City Council. I did, and Barbara and Rich, we all went over to the City Council meeting a couple weeks ago. and just gave the city council an update, and so it's under their review right now. But if by chance that is not completed by July 1, the order does allow us to charge those rates, and so it's just not in our tariff. And we can still continue to charge the rates. The one difference would be that the leak adjustment rate would remain the same for a Cheapview customer. It would not be it wouldn't until it's approved in our tariff, because they would no longer be a MUB, they would no longer be a Cheapview customer. They would be a MUB customer, and so we would not charge the sell for resale rate when they become our customer.
All right, the Cheat Lake wastewater treatment plant.
Okay, so we are right now at the 70% completion point of plans and specifications. All-Star Ecology, they've had to go back and do a little bit of additional work relating to the wetland delineation, which is required by the Army Corps of Engineers. We've also authorized Mountaineer Gas to proceed with the gas main relocation, because we don't want that to interfere with contractor start time. So tomorrow, Rich and I will be meeting along with our consultant, Strand Associates with the West Virginia DEP. We will be discussing what items are eligible to be in a state revolving fund loan, and what the loan would look like as far as terms and conditions, and just a general discussion. And so we're very pleased at the speed we're making. I think we may even have an opportunity to have an additional meeting with the Army Corps very soon. There's some more questions they have, so we'll have to get with them. I believe there's some proposals to meet tomorrow afternoon as well, maybe in a phone conference.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, office renovations.
Yes, so this hasn't fallen off the radar. We've just had some setbacks with some things with the property, but they are still working on the issues pertaining to the part of our property in the back that was designated as being in the floodplain. So that we've had surveyors on site, and so they're working through those issues still.
Okay. Upper Pocono, boy, this is the big project that never dies.
No, we're moving full steam ahead. The bid documents have been reviewed. All the comments are back to E.L. Robinson Engineering. We have all the permits. I think I've mentioned that in a previous meeting. There's still just a few outstanding easement issues. One of the outstanding easements, it's not critical for completion of the project. So we have sent that individual a letter letting them know that, hey, if you don't sign the easement, you're out of the project. So you have to decide. It's at the very end, and so they either choose to be part or they don't choose to be part. But we can, even if they come on during construction, which my intuition tells me that when they see heavy equipment in their neighbor's yard, they're going to want to be in the project. So it won't be a problem. We wouldn't do a change order. It would just be the dollar amount per foot that's in the contract. So we wouldn't have to go through a big hoopla over that. There are a few other easements we're still working through, but I think, Jeff, maybe you've made some progress there.
Sure, we're literally down to, other than the ones that you just talked about at the end, there's one left, and it's been promised to us. So.
Great.
Good. This will be a really positive outcome for the problems that we've had in the area, and I think everybody that's in that area understands that. And again, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of cost, but it's going to make a big difference. Okay, Westridge.
I am very pleased to report that we have the Army Corps permit in hand for the sewer project. The DOH permits are in hand. And now we're just waiting for the Army Corps permit for the water line, which according to the Army Corps, we may have at the end of this week. So it's all ready to go. We do have some outstanding easements that we're working through at the moment, but we hope to get those rectified very soon. Good.
All right, Westover Operation and Maintenance Agreement.
So Jeff has been working with Tim Stranko with the City of Westover. This is our standard O&M agreement. It's the same agreement we've used multiple times with River Road and Cheap View, but this would, MUB would operate and maintain the system. We already do the billing. We do all the collection now, so there's nothing new, there's no add-ons there. We would just do the work, and which we have been working with them for years and helping them, and instead of invoicing, it'll just be the dollars stay with MUB. And so this is, again, this is just our typical O&M agreement. We recommend the board approve it.
Okay, now that Westover City Council's on board and they've approved it, it's our turn. So, do I have a motion?
I move to enter into an operation and maintenance agreement with the City of Westover, subject to the approval of the Public Service Commission of West Virginia, and to authorize the general manager to execute and submit the same to the PSC for approval, with a copy thereof to be included in the minutes of this meeting.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
What was, I know I read Ben's article, but was there much in the way of discussion at the Westover Council meeting about this, or any concerns that were raised there?
We got no feedback of any concerns.
Great.
Okay.
And they will be responsible for the rate increase with the lift station and
That's,
funding that before any
Yes.
further.
that's already approved, and it has been submitted. Westover is required to obtain consent of the Public Service Commission for their rate increases, and that's been submitted.
Okay.
So that approval is forthcoming at any time.
Thank you.
All right, all in favor of the O&M agreement with the City of Westover, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
I moved.
Dave
Dave
seconded?
seconded.
Okay, sorry.
Remember.
I know, I can't either. I heard
came from
it.
those areas.
I heard a
It was
second
down
down there.
What else has Dave approved? Hold on a second.
Watch out.
Watch it.
Okay, General Manager, you have a report.
Yes, so Morgan's Run, we've talked about it. We did ask Governor Justice to include it on the agenda for the special session. That was Senate Bill 176. It did not make it, unfortunately, so we are still hoping to hear some positive news from the West Virginia DEP Office of Abandoned Mine Lands and Reclamation. So we just continue to wait. So hopefully they're...
Don't give up. That's
No, I mean, it's a great program. I mean, if you qualify and there's 377, like, mining activity that's impacted the water, it's a great program.
all right. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yes, absolutely. So Baker's Ridge, Van Voorst Developments, we've completed the first phase of the 5G process. We've selected a firm to develop a preliminary engineering report that would be used for submission of an IJDC grant loan combination. We're in the process of negotiating with the contract. Rich has been handling that. If you have anything you want to add, Rich.
No, I mean, I think the first thing is we have a scoping meeting scheduled for next Monday, and we agree on a scope and get a fee from them, and I think that'll really determine how quickly it proceeds from that point, and because we're going to have to get some buy-in from these individual developments to pay for that PDR, and so that's the next step, is get a cost for that, and then move on from there.
You think they would be on the next July agenda then?
Possibly. I'm not sure how long it'll take them to develop that estimate, but maybe.
Okay.
And I think I don't know how that the different developments will have to handle it with their HOAs and discuss. So that might
And some
not get
might
us
slow
into
down.
It might be more like August,
Yeah.
but it'll be up to them to decide what they want to do as far as paying for it.
Okay.
So Raleigh Lane, you may have noticed a lot of activity there near the parking lot where the subway and all that's located. So the 8-foot diameter metal storm pipe collapsed, and so we had to bring them in pretty short order to come in and put in a stormwater box. And so that has been completed. They're finished, and now we're looking at repaving. And so you'll see that action as well.
Yes, they're out there. They got it all torn up and blocked off, so I know they're working at it.
So we've got a couple other things to add in the report. So the work that's being done over on Van Voris in conjunction with the West Virginia DOH, the existing utility locations that were on the mapping that were provided to MUB for our use in estimating the cost of relocating our utilities. This would be like phone, telephone, cable, and so forth. They were not correct. And so we're not able to do a directional drill or a bore underneath the road. It's going to be open cut. And so I have went ahead and signed a change order today, which the DOH is approved already to pay for. So it's not a MUB expense. Doesn't come out of our pocket. They will pay, but it is $150,000.
Are they gonna seek those reimbursement from the company that had the wrong drawings?
Eric, I don't know how they handle things like that. They were just not correct where we could put bore pits
No, this
in.
was,
So I don't know how they do it.
that's,
Keeps things interesting.
yeah, it's just,
All right.
yeah.
So, and lastly, some wonderful news from Senator Joe Manchin's office. And I don't want to steal any limelight from Jeff, because Jeff was the principal author of the Congressional Directed Spending Grant application for the water treatment plant upgrade. So we provided around $26 million, I believe, Jeff, request, and I was informed late Thursday or early Friday, it's made the first cut. So we really appreciate Senator Manchin, his support for this project. We're going to be coming back and talking to the board more about the water plant and distribution system and so forth. We've been working with Strand and narrowing down a scope of project to come back to the board with. But it's encouraging. I mean, they did tell us throughout that correspondence that this is, there's a long way to go. But at least we got over the first hurdle, and we greatly appreciate the senator's support.
Sure. Any help at all? we appreciate.
Yes, any help at all.
Definitely. All right, that takes us to board member issues and discussions, and I'll start by saying that on May the 16th, we had the Edwards dedication of the pipeline from the Flegel Dam. It was extremely well attended. 24 members at least of the Edwards family came into town and had a wonderful time, enjoyed it. We did too, and got a lot of feedback, even on a plane from Miami. A person I didn't know sat next to me and said, "Oh, wasn't that a wonderful thing Morgantown did about the Edwards family?" And I said, "Oh, let me tell you about it, okay?" So I did want to thank some of our staff who did a lot of work. Amy Cassay, of course, she was right there holding us up the whole time and making sure we got where we needed to be. And Stacy Stallers, who helped with provide the food, because we had a luncheon. anybody else who was there and moved chairs around. We had the maintenance guys there and the staff from the plant. And I wanted to thank John Porter too, who was our bus driver of the day from Mountain Line Bus. We were able to get his services, and he did quite a job because I think we drove around for 5.5 hours, or he was there for 5.5 hours. So the family did get to visit their old neighborhood, and they did get to visit the family cemetery, and it was quite an event. So I wanted to thank our staff who put in a lot of work. Chris Dale, who really tipped us off to this some time ago, and did some historical research, being a history nut that he is. And my daughter, Adelheid, who also had a lot of history from the Edwards family, helped us out with putting some material together for them. So I did want to thank all the people that helped us, and sorry if I've missed anybody, but it was a really fun and rewarding experience. So thank you, staff and MUB.
And I want to point out that Barbara and her daughter paid for the bus. They were very gracious and provided the bus for the family and for everyone to take the tour in. Thank you.
It's our
Very
pleasure.
nice, thank you.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, it was a wonderful event. It was so fun. I really enjoyed being part of it.
That was one I wish I could have attended. As you know, I had
Yes.
another event that evening.
Yes, you did.
And I heard rave reviews from others at that event, including Mayor Marshall, who had attended. And
Yes.
so congratulations, you guys. I think that's a wonderful way to honor the Edwards family.
I enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't like was the wind, because poor Chris Dale was chasing after posters.
Oh.
Left and right.
Well, I think it's really an honor that MUB was able to do that. I'm proud of our organization for having done that, and I think it's very meaningful in the community, and it's very meaningful to that family too. Our history is very important, and I think we need to remember and honor it whenever we can. So, thanks again. Anybody else from the board have comments?
No, I'd just like to thank Mike, Barbara Rich for being there at the city council meeting, committee of the whole in May, just to give the presentation update on the cheap view. There really weren't any questions, so I think that was very helpful and appreciated by the city, so thanks.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
We're glad to provide that
Yeah,
information.
yeah.
Yes,
And
we
the
are.
renovations are really nice.
Yes, City Hall
Yeah.
is
City
very
Hall is
nice,
wonderful.
very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm sure you're more comfortable sitting in a semicircle too. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it's much more conducive to interaction. And,
Yeah.
An ADA on top of that.
Oh, okay, good.
Very good.
All right, so do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I move to convene an executive session of the Board of Directors under the provisions of West Virginia Code Section 6-9A-42, 9 and 12 to discuss personnel matters, advanced construction planning, and other confidential matters which are exempt from disclosure under the West Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and further move to adjourn the meeting at the conclusion of the executive session.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll take a 10-minute break and we'll reconvene for executive